Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about some friggin' authors. I randomly decided I wanted to make a little video talking about some of my favorite authors and what specifically I love so much about their writing or their books, their world, their characters, whatever the case may be. And I wanted to try to actually put them in a ranking. I'm not doing like the tier ranking thing. I wanted to put them in order of like favorite to least favorite. So on the favorite authors, I have 9 that I put down. And then I have 4 honorable mentions. I started realizing as I was making the list and like thinking of what I loved about these authors that there were a few like categories of things to speak on generally. There's authorial voice, and to me, that is a little bit different than writing style. It's slightly different. It can kind of be the same thing, but like writing style is kind of, to me, like how they structure their sentences, how they use punctuation, and then authorial voice is just tone and the vibe. I don't know, it can be kind of tied up in one thing, but I just did authorial voice and then storytelling. Because someone can write a book that maybe I don't love their authorial voice or writing style, and maybe the characters are like, they're okay, but man, like the way they tell that story, I'm hooked, I'm engaged, I want to know what happens next. And then characters, of course, some people just write characters that I fucking love and I get so invested in. And then fun plot kind of can be storytelling, but sometimes someone writes a good story that isn't necessarily like a fun and exciting plot. They just tell this kind of more quiet story really well. So it's different to have just a fun ass fucking plot, like a book that is just a fun time. It's a wild ride, it's exciting. I'm just like, I'm here with these characters to see what crazy shit they're about to get into. And then the world. Some books I maybe don't love the characters as much as others, but man, I'm so immersed in the world that has been built, the lore, the history, all of that shit. I eat it up. So we're gonna go in order here, but I will say that some of these rankings, it might be a little fluid. Some of them might be a little tied. Maybe all 9 of these technically are tied. First, I'll give the honorable mentions though. So number 4 is Gillian Flynn. I put her on the honorable mentions because I have read Dark Places, Sharp Objects, and Gone Girl, and I think she has like 1 novella also out. I don't think she has any other books out. So I've pretty much read all of her works, and right, there's not another one, I don't think. At any rate, I loved all of those. Like, just thought they were so great, but my thing is, I don't really read thrillers all that much. It's not that I don't like thrillers. Obviously, there are some that I really fucking love, but I don't know, I'm just not in the mood for them a lot, and I'm very much a mood reader. I haven't read that many thrillers, and there are some people who do love thrillers and they think Gillian Flynn sucks, but I liked her books. And it was mostly for me, her writing style. I just really connected with her writing style and authorial voice kind of, and just a fun plot. Because for me, the twists and the turns and the reveals in her books like fucking hit me like a ton of bricks. Number 3 is Daniel Handler as Lemony Snicket. I have read a little bit of 2 of Daniel Handler's other works, and I did enjoy them. I really did. But I don't know how much I enjoyed them necessarily, and I feel like I would need to read a little bit more of his work to tell, because the 2 that I read were very different. But yeah, as Lemony Snicket, I just love the series of unfortunate events. I love it so much. It has so much nostalgia for me. I would get every new book like as soon as it came out at Meyer. I would go find it like, oh my god, here it is. And yeah, and I was a little older when I started reading it too. I was like in middle school. But his authorial voice is so amazing to me. Oh my god, I love it. I fucking love his authorial voice in those books. And then also for a fun plot. Now, those books, it's the same recipe, right? It's the same formula, it's the same recipe for every book, but I just think they're a fun time, and I like the characters and just the way he just all of the things. This one, I really thought about putting on the actual favorite authors. Should I? I don't know. I don't think so, because I've only read this one series of his. Now, there's gonna be 6 books total, and I've read 4, and I really liked all of them. But again, it's the only series of his that I have read, and that is Michael J. Sullivan at number 2. And his is mostly for the world. It's just such a rich world. It's a big world. This is epic fantasy, high fantasy. With his, I almost put characters as a reason he's on the list, because I think he has very well-written characters. And I talk about this a lot with his female characters in particular, because it is very common to come across adult fantasy written by white dudes in particular, but just men kind of generally, that doesn't have the best female character portrayal. It's not everybody, of course, but it's a stereotype for a reason, that women are often written very one-dimensional. And that is so not the case in this book series, at least. He has many characters, men and women, and they're all varied and complex. But I can't necessarily say that I feel a huge connection with the characters. I like them a lot, and I care about what happens to them, and there have been a couple times where I've gotten a little bit emotional, but not that emotional. So for him, I put the world and then his writing style. His writing style is pretty straightforward. It's not some Tolkien or George R. R. Martin where you're getting like chapters of all this extra shit that you're like, I don't care about all of this. And like I said, I kind of wanted to put him on the actual favorites list because I really do like that series. Like, I love that series. But I would need to read, I think, some more of his works to really be able to tell. And then number 1 on the honorable mention is Sarah Beth Durst. And again, this is one where I really liked this trilogy of hers that I read, The Queens of Renthia, but that's all that I have read of hers. And I would need to see a little bit more to feel like she's truly a favorite. And hers is for the world because I've said it 50 times, I'll say it 50 more. It's one of the most interesting worlds to me in fantasy. It's very unique. And then also the characters. I just think the characters were complex and well written. Now, getting into the top 9. So annoying. I should have put one more so I could have a top 10. Number 9, George R. R. Martin. Now, I have only actually read the first 3 books in The Song of Ice and Fire, but I have also read World of Ice and Fire and Fire and Blood. And now World of Ice and Fire isn't just written by George R. R. Martin, and it's different. And then Fire and Blood also, both of those are like historical texts from that world, from the Game of Thrones world. So they're different. They very much read like history books, but I fucking just love this world. And that is why I put him on this list, because the world building, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I am so invested in this fictional fucking world. It's ridiculous. And I love history and I love historical fiction and shit. And like, I swear to God, I want this place to be real. And then also for the characters, I mean, you cannot deny that he writes really great character arcs that you just get so fucking invested in. He makes you like characters that you shouldn't like them. Like 2 books ago, you did some heinous shit, but now I kind of like you. Like, what the fuck is happening? So I think, that's a thumbs up. And then for a fun plot. Now, George R. R. Martin's writing is often dense and whatnot. But once again, you can't deny that he writes a great plot twist, oh shit moment. Like, I mean, hi, the Red Wedding. So that is why he is on this list. Number 8 for me, Gail Carriger. She writes the Parasol Protectorate series. Now, I've read the Parasol Protectorate series once through, and I'm on book 3 of a reread. And her other works, she has I don't know the actual name of the series, but it's basically the continuation series. It's following a young character from the Parasol Protectorate series, and like this other series, the Prudence series, is following her. I've only read the first book of that series. I do want to continue with it, Then she has her like more middle grade one, and I can't remember the name of that either. It's like Curtsies and something, I don't know. I read the first book of that and I didn't really like that, but it was just a little bit too juvenile and I didn't connect with the characters as much as I do in the Parasol Protectorate. But I love the Parasol Protectorate series so fucking much that I had to put Gail Carriger on this list anyway. Her authorial voice. Oh my fucking God, I love it. I love it so much. There are so many moments in the book where I'm like, I want to remember that. Like I'm tabbing all these quotes to save and all these like, I love it moments, funny moments, because just the way she writes, it fucking amuses me endlessly. It's like this very stilted Victorian, like whatever, but it's just so sassy and witty and clever, and I love it. And also the characters, like I said, there was that other series that I didn't really get into, but man, Alexia and Lord, oh God, I'm listening to the audiobook. Macan, yeah, Lord Macan. And then Lord Akaldama, the vampire, like I just love them all so much. And they're just seeing them interact, like it's a great time. And then also for the plots, it's kind of, it's, you know, paranormal, romance essentially, but it's like historical because it's set in Victorian England. And it's just one of those things where each book is like a different mystery to be solved. But I don't know, I just think it's a fun time. Number 7 is Cinda Williams' Chima. This is another one where I've read now 2 of her series, and then she has a third one, which is like the Air Chronicles. And I read the first book, kind of was like, okay. And then I picked up the second book and I'm pretty sure I DNF'd it. I didn't really give a fuck about that series. But the Seven Realms series and the Shattered Realms series, quite enjoyed. Definitely the Seven Realms series is my favorite of hers. And just the world, I love the world. I love the characters. And I think it's a fun plot, again. And I like how she weaves everything together really well for me, at least in the Seven Realms series specifically. The Shattered Realms was pretty good, but that ending of the series, the fuck. Number 6 is Ian McEwan, and he writes just general fiction, literary fiction. I don't know exactly what you would call it. I really enjoy his writing style. I really enjoy the storytelling. Sometimes it's not necessarily anything super exciting happening, but just the way he weaves the tale, I'm there, you know? And the characters. I think he writes pretty complex characters that you get invested in. Number 5, Kiersten White. Is anybody surprised that she is on this list? Now, I have not loved everything. Slayer, looking at you. But I didn't hate that either, necessarily. The main character, man, she was so fucking annoying. But generally speaking, I really enjoy her storytelling. Once again, whatever the story is, I'm engaged with it. I want to know what's going to happen. And just the way she weaves it is really great for me. Characters, for sure, particularly the, oh my god, Conqueror's Saga, the Andi Darkin, etc. Lada Dracul, I just love that bitch. She's a fucking terrible person. She's ruthless as fuck, but I love her for it. And then Radu, her brother, so precious. I love him. And also for fun plot, because yeah, she can give you some oh shit moments for sure. Sarah J. Maas is number 4. Again, is anybody surprised? No. Sarah J. Maas just writes such motherfucking fun stories for me. Every book of hers that I have picked up, I've had a good ass time reading it. The only one that I could say was kind of like, was A Court of Wings and Ruin. I thought that was a pretty not great ending to that trilogy. That's the only one that I've read that I was kind of like, okay, whatever. That was a thing. The rest of them, though, I just fucking ate that shit up. I just, so much fun. Such a fun plot. And I don't even care that she uses, like, kind of a similar formula over and over again, because, I don't know, she writes it really well for me. I'm excited the whole time I'm reading it. I'm engaged. I want to know what the fuck is going to happen. And then her characters also, again, you see similar things, but I just think they're fun. I like them. Now, Feyre was, like, the main character of her book series that I didn't love. I liked her. She was fine. I didn't dislike her, but she was just kind of there for me. But Aylin, I don't care. Say what you want about her. She's not like other girls, and she's this and that. I don't fucking care. I like her. I would want to be her friend. And then her worlds. I don't know. I think they're fun. I like fairies and shit. And I think it's like really fun worlds, and she has like the lore and the mythology involved and everything. Now, it's not on the same level as like a George R. R. Martin, of course, but I still enjoy her worlds. Into the top 3. And it's kind of funny because these 3 authors, well, 2 of them in particular, haven't actually written all that much. And one of them has written a little bit more, but still not like a shit ton. But number 3 is Suzanne Collins. The Hunger Games, man. Like, I don't fucking care. I love it. I love it so much. Every time I reread it, I just think it is a wonderfully crafted story. I really enjoy the characters. I mean, Gail is like, whatever. But Katniss, I love Katniss Everdeen, and especially the books, which are very different from the movies in the fact, which I think those movies are really good adaptation. But it's very different because in the books, you are in Katniss's head. So you get to know her so much more, and I just really like her. And talk about a fun plot. I mean, not fun all the time. It's like really dark and like fucking heinous, and it's terrible things happening. But just the reveals, the oh shit moments, all that are so great to me. So yeah, I had to put Suzanne Collins real high. Now, her book that's coming out soon, which I have pre-ordered, I'm a little nervous. I pre-ordered it. I'm gonna read it, of course. But yeah, it could go either way. Number 2 is Jandy Nelson. As far as every time I have ever looked, Jandy Nelson has written 2 books, I'll Give You the Sun and The Sky is Everywhere. And I love them both. I love I'll Give You the Sun slightly more, but I think both of them are written so well. Her authorial voice, just, I love it. I love it so much. And it's not for everybody. I have had people that I know who've read I'll Give You the Sun and are like, what the fuck is this? Because it's just so metaphorical. It's these kids, and they're very whimsical, and they're very imaginative, and they say things that like don't actually fucking make sense, but you're like, okay. Almost like borderline like fabulism, or like magical realism, because like this kid sees his mom doing something and he just idolizes her, and he sees like wind moving her skirts around, but like her skirts aren't actually moving. There's no wind. And he says like, other kids' moms don't have their own weather. Shit like that is like, what? There's no weather. There's not actually any wind. That's not actually happening. You're just imagining it. And what does that mean? But I love it. It's so beautiful to me. And her storytelling and her characters, I feel for them so much. And then this one, number 1, I have read 3 of her books. One of them, though, was nonfiction, and I didn't really like it that much. And I haven't read her other works. I have read 2, though. And that is Elizabeth Gilbert. She is number 1. The amount of love that I have for City of Girls, like, she just had to be number 1. And because it's her writing style, it's her authorial voice, like the quality of her writing is fucking top-notch to me. And just the way she tells a story, you know, where like someone like Sarah J. Maas, I said, it's mostly for me about the exciting shit happening, like the plot, right? The plot itself is what like fucking gets me. Sarah J. Maas's writing style isn't necessarily, like, in my personal opinion, that high up there in true objective quality, right? But subjectively, her books are a fucking fun time. Elizabeth Gilbert, to me, objectively has a pretty high quality of writing, but the plot's, like, not that much happens. It's very character driven, but man, the way she fucking tells the story, like, I don't care what they're about. Don't care really what the character is, who the character is. I'll find out, and I'm sure I'll love them. And I don't care what's happening to them in the story. I just want to read it. So there we go. Those are my favorite authors currently. And there's plenty others that I enjoy. Like there's some where like maybe a book would be on a favorites list, but it's the only book I've read from an author, so I can't really say if they're my favorite author, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So as always, thank you so much for your time. Hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.